Hi everyone. This next video that I'm doing actually shows you how to loop through a list of items. A lot of times when you're working with agents, it's not often that you only work on one item. Like you might have a list of executives that you want to do research on, a list of topics you want to do research on. And while it's easy to build an agent that can do research on one single topic, what do you do if you have a list of topics? Um, Ideally, what you want to be able to do is to take each topic, run your whatever the action is, and then get the responses and then summarize it at the end. And the way to do that in Agent AI is through doing a for loop. And so this shows you how to use the for loop. So again, it's a test for loop, just simple without going through these two screens. The actions is where it is interesting. So I first start off by asking for a list of topics. And so the way you do that is you get user list is the input that I use. And so when you do that, get user list, enter a list of topics. I left the delimiter blank, in which case it's just going to be hit enter, and then that gets stored in out list underscore topics. Then what I do is I now need to loop over this. So for that, you go click on add action, you go to run process, and you say add the for loop. And when you add the for loop, what it gives you is you provided the list of topics that you want to loop through. It provides two variables. This is the actual value of the item in the list, and this is the index. So if you have two items in the list, then your index will be 0 and 1, and 0 will be the first item, 1 will be the second item. And so remember loop variable, which is the actual output, and the index, which is the index. And this is where it gets a little interesting. What I then do is I now, and so you'll notice the moment you do a for loop, it puts these little arrows, so it knows that you're now in the for loop. And so what I do is I basically say, research the topic. So loop variable, remember that. This is whatever that value is in the um, list. And then I'm just saying return a short one paragraph summary. You can make this as complicated as you want. And it stores it in out underscore topic underscore research. And so what this step is doing is it's taking the first topic, doing the research, and it's storing it into out underscore topic underscore research. The thing though is I need to store the output also in a list. So what I'm now doing is I'm doing an add to list. And this is where I'm saying this is my topic and this is the list to add it to. So list underscore research will now have a list of all the research for the topics. And so the way you add to list, again, if you go to run process, there is add to list, and then you define the list, and then you add the item to the list. And the reason to do add to list is because obviously as it's looping through this, if there are two items, three items, it keeps adding it to this list. And so now at the end of this, and then I add the end, which is end the if else for statement. And again, the way to do that is you go to add action, run process, and if else for statement. And that now will stop the for loop. So if I have a list of five items, it'll iterate through this five times, and each output will be stored into this out underscore topic underscore research list item. Then what I do is I then say I'm providing you with research done on a list of topics. This is out underscore list underscore topics. This was what I provided in the input. I'd like you to format the output in paragraph with each topic having its own paragraph. Should have the name of the topic, and this is the research that I'm providing it. So I'm providing it the list. And what I'm doing with this step is basically taking the output which is in that list, and I'm just organizing it and formatting it better and storing it in out underscore research, which I then show to the user. And so the output, when you run this, looks like this. So I have two topics, AI agents and college visits, and you'll notice it goes through it. And sorry, this is the wrong one. AI agents and college visits. And when you go run this, what it gives you is an output that looks like this, the topic, the little one paragraph summary, second topic, one paragraph summary. So if you had five executives that you went and did some research on and you wanted one output which had all that information in one long output, this is how you would do it. And so just to now show you that this thing actually works, I'm going to click run, open a new window, and I am going to talk about, let's say, let's pick the Hubble scope area. That doesn't really matter. So those are the two topics. And now if I click go, and it's useful to see what's happening here. So it'll first get those two items in the list, and then now it's going to go. And so this is the Hubble telescope. It's gone and it's done the research. And then you'll notice this is going to now change because when it goes through it the second time, it's going to now replace it with the theory of relativity. So you see, now I see the theory of relativity. This reason I needed to add it to a list is as it goes through each time, it outputs it. And so here you now see at the end of it, I have my output, Hubble telescope, and theory of relativity. Hope you found this useful. I struggled a lot trying to figure out how to make the ifs and the for loops work. So this is for those of you who are trying to do something more complicated.